Everyone, thanks for stopping by. Today we're making these corn tortillas. Alright, to get started, I have 4 cups of Maseca flour in this bowl. To the Maseca, I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of salt, 2 teaspoons of sugar, and 2 teaspoons of baking powder. Then we're going to mix these dry ingredients together. I always use a half a teaspoon of each one of those ingredients per cup of the Maseca flour, so that if you want to scale this up or down, you should be able to do that. Okay, now after all of the dry ingredients are well combined, I'm going to add this 4 tablespoons of melted butter here. This is completely optional. You do not have to add butter or oil or anything like that to your corn tortillas, but I prefer it for flavor and texture. So after I get it mixed in, I'm just going to add my water. I have 1 cup of water per 1 cup of Maseca flour, but that doesn't mean that's what I'm going to use. I'm going to use however much I need to get myself to the point of the dough feeling like Play-Doh. So I actually end up using just under 3 cups of water here. Now, some things that could affect how much water you have to use are: how old is your Maseca? What kind of climate do you live in? If you live in a drier climate, you'll probably have to use more. And also, how much oil did you use? The oil counts as some of the moisture here, so it's really more of a feeling in your hands than it is an actual recipe. So see right here, I'm noticing that my Maseca is just a little bit too dry for myself, so I'm going to go ahead and add some more. And like I said, I ended up using a total of just under 3 cups. You may use more, you may use less. I can't tell you how much you're going to use. You're just going to mix it together until it forms a dough that feels very similar to Play-Doh. I like to use my clean hand to hold the dough after I've mixed it all up so I can feel it. I want to get a more accurate feel, so I use my clean hand for that. And see here, it's like very workable. It's not sticking to my fingers. It feels very much like Play-Doh. And now after I've mixed it up, I let mine rest for 5 minutes and then it's ready to go. Now I aged this dough for a while in the refrigerator wrapped up in plastic wrap, and then I brought it to room temperature and then I used it. You don't have to do that step, but I did. Now this right here is just a 1-gallon Ziploc bag that I cut 3 sides off of, and I have been using this plastic bag for years. It's totally beat up, but it still works. Now, if you really wanted to, you could measure out your dough using an ice cream scoop so that you could get very accurate, or you could use a scale too to get a precise amount of dough per tortilla. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to freehand it. To me, I use about a golf ball size. I put it in my press. I press it out. Now, my press is a little bit janky, so I have to press mine, move it over, press it again. But the main thing is it should be flat and even, and even thickness through the whole tortilla. So then you just peel off the plastic, put the tortilla in your hand, and then peel off the back plastic. And that's how you get it. That's how you put it in your hand. And then from this point, you slap it on a grill. Whatever kind of grill you have that you're using for this, you go ahead and make sure that it's preheated to screaming hot, and then you throw this on. If you don't have a grill or a griddle, you could also do this in your favorite pan on the stove. Or a comal if you have one of those, which is my preference. All right, now here we go. I am on my little tiny griddle and it is cranked up to the highest temperature of 400 degrees. You can even see the discoloration on my griddle because of how hot I have it. And I'm just going to press and then slap them on the grill. You cook them for about 1 minute, flip them over, cook them 30 seconds, flip them back over, and then you're going to do what's known as teasing the dough, which means you're going to either use your fingernail to kind of like poke at the tortilla, or you're going to use a spatula, which is what I use, to press it down. And now they may puff for you, they may not puff for you. It does not make a difference either way. No difference in flavor or anything like that if they do or they don't flip for you. Now, if I was on a hotter griddle or a comal, they would probably all puff for me. Okay, so see, here's about 1 minute in. I'm going to go ahead and give them a flip. You do not have to use your hands. I know you see me using my hands. You don't have to use a spatula. And obviously, sliding the tortillas around on the grill is the most important part of the recipe. No, I'm just kidding. It's not. I was just obviously bored. 3 dozen is what this recipe makes. So you're going to be there for a while unless you have a really big grill. Okay, now off to the side, I have myself a bowl that has a lid. Now, you don't have to use a bowl. You could use a Ziploc bag. Doesn't really matter what you use, as long as after you're done cooking all of these tortillas, put them in a bowl with a lid or a Ziploc or whatever you're using to steam them. After the very last tortilla comes off the grill, you're going to want to steam these covered. Please cover them. Zip up the Ziploc bag. This step is so important. Steam them for 10 minutes. That will make these tortillas very pliable and you won't get like cracking and crunching and stuff like that. So I'm just going to continue on here. Like I said, this recipe makes 3 dozen or more, maybe whatever size you're using might make your amount different at the end. But I got 3 dozen. And I'm just going to keep pressing and cooking and throwing in there to steam. And that's all there is to it, guys. That's it. You have corn tortillas. Super easy. The Maseca dough is so easy to work with. It's very forgiving. If you added too much liquid, you could easily add more flour in. If you added too much flour, you could easily add more water. It's very, very, very forgiving. And there you go. That's the whole thing, guys. So don't forget, like, comment, share, and subscribe this, please. And come back to my kitchen anytime.